And I have the key to the all-new AMG GT63S four-door coupe.
Mercedes and AMG have always been yin and yang, beauty and the beast. But recently, with the GT series, AMG has taken over the reins and developed their own cars. The new GT63S four-door coupe is the latest addition. It has the beauty, elegance, and sophistication of Mercedes-Benz. But inside, it's still a wild and angry beast. At its heart is a growling bi-turbo V8, capable of launching this car to 100 kilometers an hour in just 3.2 seconds, shredding its tires in the process. So then, the new GT four-door coupe, yin and yang, beauty and beast. A luxury super sport saloon and a track weapon? Let's find out.
The front of the GT four-door is very similar to its two-door sibling. That means we have the AMG Panamericana grille, which is very iconic, very low, gives a very snouty, aggressive look. You get multiple different options in terms of the exterior design package. In this black edition, all of these little embellishments and accents are all in glossy black, but depending on the package, you can also get them in chrome. The GT four-door has proper super sport sedan proportions. So you have a long front bonnet, a long body. This is actually 5 meters long. It's also very wide, has a very stable stance on the road, and the roofline is also very swooping and very low. 43 and the 53 as standard come with coilover suspension with adaptable dampers. The air suspension comes the standard with the 63 and is an option on the other variants as well. As you move along to the side, the rear lights are very slim and wrap around the end of the car. Gives that emphasis on the width. Although the car is already wide, I don't know why you need to emphasize that even more. Most importantly, with the aerodynamic package, you will get a fixed carbon fiber spoiler. In this case, this is an integrated flushed spoiler which will deploy only at high speeds. But I think, given the fact that this car is more for Autobahn cruising, and of course we can take it on the track, which we will see later on in this review here on the circuit, I think this is a much more cleaner look. This is 456 liters of boot space, and with the seats down, it goes up to 1,324 liters. You get, as standard, a normal sports seat, which you can also get with Dinamica microfiber and synthetic leather, which Artico synthetic leather, which I think is a great option. The upgraded sports seats, on the other hand, are a bit too firm for everyday use. And let's be honest, even though this is a very sporty car, you're not going to be driving it on the track every day. First of all, the thing that you'll notice the most is this large display. There are two 12.3-inch screens, which we've seen earlier before in some other Mercedes cars. So nothing new, but this car obviously has that. The 63 comes with this setup. As standard, you can get this optionally in the 43 and the 53. The dashboard itself is pretty stiff actually on the top, but there is some plush materials over here, and it's fairly shallow, but I like the way it wraps around you. As you can see, it just wraps around, connects with the door, so it kind of feels like you're in a very cozy cockpit. You have a heads-up display which gives you a lot of useful information. It's also a very large and colorful heads-up display, so it's pretty cool. Of course, you can connect your telephone, media, radio. You can have your navigation on this as well. Right now there is no map navigation running, but then you can have that on the screen. As you can see, we have different options for just a rear angle. You have a rear plus 3/4 angle, the full side view. And speaking of the driving profiles, you can select them on this knob, very similar to the Porsche steering wheel, which also has this kind of a system. Soft close, window goes up, and yes, I think that the space in the back is not that great. The space overall is a bit tight. In fact, I think the Panamera, which I did drive, unfortunately, we don't have a review. I don't have a review, but you can watch the other reviews that our team has done. I think there's a little bit more space in the Panamera. Let's see what powers this beast. Wow. But let's take a step back. First of all, gas charged struts, acoustic damping, of course. So the GT 4-door Coupé is available with 2 engines and 4 states of tune. The first engine would be on the AMG GT 43 and the 53. This is a 3-liter inline-6 turbo petrol engine with an electric auxiliary compressor called the EQ Boost. This is a mild hybrid system, so the electric motor assists the engine and helps give a little bit of extra boost when it's required, up to 22 horsepower. The base 43 has 367 horsepower and 500 Newton meters of torque. Then we have the AMG 4-liter bi-turbo V8 petrol engine. And the 63S, which is the most powerful one, the one we have here, makes 639 horsepower and 900 Newton meters of torque. That's incredible. So you might know this engine, it's fairly familiar, and of course they're always developing it ever so slightly from each iteration. So the 2 turbochargers are nestled within the bank. So there's one bank here, 4 cylinders, and another bank here, hence making the V8. And the turbos are actually right between the 2 banks. You can see them here. And these are twin turbos, so there's 2, one for each bank, but these are also twin scroll. So 2 twin scroll turbos. This car has immediate responses. It's incredible. That bi-turbo V8 is just so smooth and so silky. So that 900 Newton meters, you have that to play with almost everywhere in the torque, in the power band. And that noise is just addictive. Every time you let off the throttle, it just spits and crackles. It's so engaging. The shifts are also instant with these paddle shifters that you have. You can shift up and shift down. Steering feel in Sport Plus mode is also impeccable. Gives you such great feedback. Oh man. And let's put the engine, the gearbox in manual mode. Drop it down to first gear. Whoa! It's incredible. The acceleration is just visceral. Just throws you in the back of the seat. And I really like the display. It gives you that flashing red signal for you to shift up when you're hitting the red line, which, by the way, comes so quickly. All right, guys, you joined me on board the AMG GT 4-door Coupé 63S on the Circuit of the Americas racetrack. So let's do a hot lap and see how we do and try to analyze the car. On the straightaway, I'm going 125, 130 uphill. The car is shuddering a little bit, but I suspect that's because at this press event with so many different drivers, the tire air pressure has changed a bit. I'm in race mode with the traction control on the sport mode, so that is partially off, not completely off. Now we're coming into some chicanes and S-bends. The car does handle its weight pretty well, and thanks to that torque vectoring 4MATIC all-wheel drive system, the car does rotate so very nicely. And of course, I am really at the ragged edge of grip when it comes to this car at these speeds on this track. And I can see that while the car is incredibly well balanced, it does tend to understeer when pushed really hard. But of course, if you are going to be driving an AMG on the track, this is perhaps not the best track AMG out there. The standard GT two-door coupe is perhaps better, but otherwise this car still does a great job. Steering is really good, gives really good feedback. The torque vectoring diff throws power to the rear to give you a little bit of oversteer when you need it to go around corners like that. Now we're on the straightaway high-speed section of the track, 130 miles per hour, 140. Hard braking over here. Brake feel is really good, brakes in a straight line. I do believe there is a little bit of problem on this race car in terms of the wheel balancing, but dives in very nice. Part throttle on the exit, control that oversteer, trail brake into this corner, apex there, gently power on. The engine sounds so nice as well, a very linear power delivery. Let's summarize today's episode of the AMG GT 4-door coupe 63S 4MATIC Plus that we drove. Well, the 43 starts at 95,000 euros. The 53 is about 110,000 euros. The standard 63 starts at 150,000 euros, and the 63S starts at 167,000 euros, but with options, it can easily touch and cross 200,000 euros as well. A pretty expensive car, but at par with its competitors like the Porsche Panamera. So, what do I think? Well, I think it's a really great combination. It is a beauty and a beast with these elegant lines, but at the same time also has that aggressive touch. The 4-liter V8 biturbo engine can also be very docile and quiet while going on the highway, shut down 4 of its cylinders, become very economical, but at the same time on the racetrack it can become a growling beast. The space on the interior, I think, is a little bit disappointing. I wish it was a little bit more spacious, considering the fact that this is supposed to be a 4-person family super sport sedan. I think that way as well the Panamera might be a little bit bigger. Also, the interiors are really cool, but I wish some things were still, changed. Like, for example, I still wish the displays were touchscreen. I hope they change that. And the volume knob on the center console is a rocker, and I would prefer to have a knob. But these are fairly minor niggles, except for perhaps the space in an otherwise very well-rounded yet expensive package.